Welcome back to the lab. We're buried under this Z32-300ZX, doing repairs, rectification, restoration type stuff and things. Some of that work involves some cosmetic stuff, and some of it involves, let's say, rectifying some workmanship issues. Turbine housings from the mighty Garrett turbochargers. Very second-hand looking downpipes. These have been on the car for quite some time. Never had problems with these sealing. However, the previous engine wreckers did have some problems with sealing. Now, placing that on there, lining up all the holes, there's actually no problem there at all, and there should be no reason why that didn't seal. The gasket that they used was hanging out the side here quite a lot, to the point where they bent it over so it didn't foul with the wastegate actuating arm. So I suspect that they've actually used entirely wrong gaskets, potentially not even for those turbochargers. But we'll look into that. I'll sort that out. We need to get some new ones anyway, and we may tidy up the face on that. It doesn't take long. We'll put a new belt on the Lanisher and give it a whoopsie. It'll be beautiful. Now these mufflers, so I am responsible for this creation. Somebody else actually did a little bit of work on it to start with. Well, basically built the exhaust system for me to start with, and then we needed a new transmission mount, and the exhaust system didn't fit anymore because he didn't listen to my instructions. So I've chopped it up and redone it all. Some of the first TIG welding that I had done in my life was sorting out something that someone else had stuffed up for me. So it has lasted quite a few years, but it has suffered, look, I may be responsible for that, or someone else might be, or whatever, but it suffered a few knocks and bangs over its lifetime. Me or someone else has bottomed that out on a driveway or whatever, and then tuners, when they're putting their O2 sensors, not using the bungs that are under the car, using the tips and then screwing them up too tight and denting the tips and things like that. Not that you'd see that generally on the car once it's on its feet, but you know, it's just things that need to be tidied up. So I'm about to attack that with the appropriate tools and get rid of this damage here, and then we'll have a look at seeing if we can make it look like new again, polishing it up. That'll be fun. We've got a little bit of time. We've got some time because under here, we can take that off, I guess. Under here there's something that needs sorting out. Now, this car's getting a full repaint, so don't worry about that. We'll get a cover on it before I do any grinding, actually. Not that cover, because that one's going on here, so we have to get the other cover, which I've hidden over there. There it is. Head studs. I made a boo-boo. Now, I'm not sure whether I was remembering wrong or whether something slightly dodgy has occurred, but I thought this engine had L19 head studs in it, and I was sure it had ARP main studs in it as well. I'm pretty sure my development path over the years with this motor resulted in those two things being in there when it left my possession anyway. Stupidly did not check that they were actually L19 head studs. That was my bad. Fingers pointing at Glenn. Glenn stuffed up there, didn't check that, made an assumption that could be entirely incorrect, and as it turns out, it was entirely incorrect. The head studs that are in that motor currently are only the baseline ARP studs. They're not even ARP 2000s or anything. They're the cheap ARP head studs. They are adequate for 500 horsepower or something like that, thereabouts. They need to be torqued to 90 foot-pounds, not 110. 110 foot-pounds. This monkey behind the camera here put onto the torque wrench and torque them to is for L19 head studs. So I made a stuff up there, but that's fine. Well, it's not fine. It does happen though, right? And you kind of have to just move forward. Now, fortunately, somebody pointed out the head studs didn't look like L19 head studs, and his reasoning for that was the undercut by the threads was too much or something like that. That's actually entirely incorrect. L19 head studs are very, very similar in dimensions to the other ARP studs. It's a material change that's the big difference. I should have picked up on it. They're not the right colour. L19 head studs, even second handies, should have a silvery, goldy, bronzy sort of tinge to them, not black. My bad. I don't have it. I'm not trying to make an excuse for that. I have made a faux pas. I've got it wrong. Like I say, either it was incorrectly in my head that I'd put L19s in there in ARP mains. I don't think so. I think they were there, but I can't confirm that. I don't have any documentation that I've stumbled across anywhere that says one way or the other. I've looked through my ordering history with z1motorsports.com, and I certainly had been purchasing ARP main studs and L19 head studs around the time that I was rebuilding or repairing, fiddling with this engine. So I don't know. I can't honestly stand here and say that the guys that rebuilt this motor took those items out and put cheaper or standard items in there, because I can't honestly confirm one way or the other. But it does seem a little bit sketchy, so hey, whatever. It doesn't matter at the end of the day. We'll chuck these studs out that are in. I've overtorqued them. 110 foot-pounds and they're supposed to have 90 foot-pounds. Throw them in the bin. They are worth nothing. Oh, it drifts, maybe. Cut the threads off them and use them for punches and stuff like that. The ARP L19 head studs are on the way from Z1 Motorsports. We've got that coming as quickly as they possibly can at this time, at this point in history, which is a lot slower than it used to be. You used to be able to order, no kidding, order Tuesday morning from Z1, which is in South Carolina, I believe, in America, and I'd have them here at Thursday lunchtime. That was awesome back then. Excuse the air compressor in the background. It's not like that anymore. So we got some time to sort out some other things, some cosmetic stuff and things, and then we'll get the head studs swapped over and carry on from there. Okay, we're not done yet. That has taken quite a lot of time. Who needs to go to the gym? Those are not light, and having to offer them up to the machine and the vise there. I'm using the polishes and whatever to tidy that up. Big job, but just about looking, I won't say as new, still have some little dents there, various different areas, but a heck of a lot better than what they did look to start with. So hopefully the owner will be happy with that. I can still polish these areas here, I haven't done that yet. And this is still quite a rough wheel finish on here, so there's another hour or so, 55 chin-ups or whatever not a chin-up, doing the old. Anyway, it's definitely time for a cold drink, and we'll crack on with the rest of that tomorrow. Done for now anyway. They are pretty shiny. They're not ridiculously shiny. Well, I guess shiny enough, right? So you can see, if we look over here, you can see some discrepancies and a few little nicks and scratches left behind in them. But let's be realistic, they are mufflers on the back of a car, and they're going to get dust and dirt and stuff all over them as soon as we use the car. Probably even on a dyno, they're going to start looking shabbier than what they do now. So I'll clean up all that mess and we'll get on with something else. I can't fit them to the car just yet because there's no mounts at the front here. The mount tabs actually are on the other side of the exhaust system, so there's nothing to hold this end of the mufflers up, and I'm not going to do it with cable ties. If they drop down, they'll fall on whatever, the BMW or the March or my head or something, so they can go back on the shelf for now. Alright, cleaning up the air conditioning compressor. Things gone a bit pear-shaped here, but that's to be expected, it's no big deal. Outside casing's all tidied up and everything, that's good, and a couple of the inside plates and whatnot. And the electromagnetic clutch on the front there, that's alright, doing all that. Take it apart. A bit of rustiness going on inside here. Unfortunately, the oil is hygroscopic. It sucks in water like brake fluid does. And we got a whole heap of corrosions going on in here. She done. It not going to last very long putting that back together. So that's one of those dead. Get another one. Start from there. Yeah, so if you wanted to know how these things work, that thing there goes in here. It's actually, that's upside down for where it actually goes, but that goes round and round, as you can see. As that goes round and round, I'm going to call it a swash plate. It possibly has a different name, oscillating plate of some description. As it goes round, it goes digga digga digga, makes these pistons, these little shoes that run on the plate via the ball bearing to the pistons, makes the pistons go up and down. Reed valve, just like a two-stroke motor on either end of the cylinders. It shifts your gas around, pumps your gas, nice and simple, until they get water in them and they rust, and then they're dead and you throw them in the bin. But that's all right. We will move along. We moved along with this. We're all tangled up. There we go. That's better, isn't it? Look, see? Shiny. Polished that up. That was never polished. I never bothered with that when I initially did that, when I made that way back in the day before you could buy kits for 300 ZXs. I made that. Put that on there. That's a Link ECU off-the-shelf trigger wheel, just modified to fit onto that. And I showed you earlier a different bracket on there, but that's all sorted out. So I polished these, made them look pretty as well. Look, see, reflection. Oh, I don't know if you can see. There you go, shiny enough. See, good, eh? And I figured out why they never polished those when they rebuilt the engine. That's because they were too busy looking for the torque wrench. It's got to be the reason, eh? So anyway, that's all right. We've got our injectors we can put in here. I guess while we wait, there's a little bit left on the day. Now these plugs are slightly different on the new injectors. They one of these pins is offset, so rather than changing the harness, changing plugs on the harness, we'll just take one of those tabs off on each injector, and they will still just plug into the original harness that we've got. So that's going to be good fun. If you're going to go in there and change O-rings on a car, you should probably make sure that when you change the O-rings, you don't screw up the new O-rings that you're putting in there. So, I mean, this, I don't know why they changed these O-rings. Maybe there was something wrong with the ones that I'd put in there, but I seriously doubt it. Probably had issues with mixtures while they were trying to tune it, and decided it was a faulty coil. Where's the coil? Oh, it might be on the other side. Pretty expensive bill. Oh, there you go. There's an ignition coil on there. Check out the price on that puppy. It's like $39 to fit it. It's $303 by the time it's in there. Yeah, not sure. Spark plugs, of course they've charged those out at $49 each. You can get them a lot cheaper than that. a heck of a lot cheaper than that. So I'm just guessing maybe these O-rings all came about when they started to tune the vehicle and had bank-to-bank mixture issues, and maybe they've decided it was leaking O-rings that were causing that, which it can do. And so then they've probably tried to change the O-rings to fix it and still haven't managed to fix it, and then they've fiddled with the tune instead. But of course we all know it's because the valves were bunged up in the back of the inlet camshafts and the variable cam timing system wasn't working. Yes. Anyway, so I did actually stumble. I thought when I saw this written on here, I thought, they've been in there, and then they figured out that those are all the same anyway, so they don't need to number them. Okay, so old style fuel rails, not the newer style. Newer style fuel rails, these injectors just bolt right up. Clunk. Done. Magic. Old style fuel rails, not so much. These ones actually need a bit of a tidy up. I will take them completely apart and give them a bit of paint because we don't want rust on things. I could get them cadmium plated, but I might look into it, see how much it'll cost, how long it'll take. How long it'll take will be the big thing. So these ones had adapters. Those adapters don't work with these. So we're in a situation where we can't fit those. So we need to talk to our mates at Z1 and get some parts sorted out. Hey Josh, can you chuck us some parts? Oh look, there we go. Fast, eh? So quick. These, throw them on the floor. Knock all the injectors on the floor, ruin the day. These are the adapters that you need to make the new injectors fit into the old style fuel rails. So I'll just confirm that that's exactly what that is. It's what it's labelled as. It may have got disrupted in their, what do they call it in Star Trek? Matter transporter. Beam me up, Scotty. Oh, that's the only way it gets here that fast, right? So we'll just make sure that works with that, and then I'll do what I'm going to do with corrosion prevention and cosmetic enhancement for these. And we need to change this hose here for a 200 series hose because we don't want to leave. They call this the hose of death on 300 ZXs. Normally it has a short little standard rubber hose in between here and here, and the clamps come loose, and then they spray fuel and then they burn to the ground. So I have replaced that some time ago with that one there, but we'll ditch that and we'll put a 200 series Teflon hose in there instead. I decided I wanted to crack on with these, so I'm not going to worry about cadmium plating. They've got it's not special, it's something you can buy off the shelf, but it's also fuel proof, so a decent type of paint on there that will prevent corrosion, make them look pretty, and won't come off if we get any fuel spilt on there. Not that you should have fuel on the outside of your fuel rails anyway, right? So all that stuff's there, it's all set up ready to go for tomorrow when these are dry, ready to put on. The kit that this lot came with actually comes with the right plugs for the injectors, which is really good. I'm kind of hoping, let's grab one of these and take it away from those flickering lights for you. Kind of hoping I'll be able to de-pin these plugs and the terminals that are on the harness in there. Gee, I'm not even going to be able to see one of those plugs. There's one right there. I'll be able to de-pin that, and hopefully that will fit onto there without doing any soldering or anything like that, or crimping, etc. Anyway, that's us for today. It is actually after 5 o'clock, so time to knock off. Thanks for watching. Catch you later. Cheers, bye.